Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. My name is Javante Smith, and what is your name?
I'm Sean.
Sean, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
All right, so I'm just going to go over a couple of things. The first thing is everything that will be in this session will be confidential. That means it will be between me and you. Also, however, if I feel that you want to harm yourself, or someone wants to harm you, then I am a mandated reporter, meaning that I will have to, tell my higher ups. Now, I will make sure that you are aware before I actually do so, so that we're both on the same page. I'm just trying to make sure that everyone is safe, especially you. All right. Does that work for
Yeah,
you? All
sounds
right.
good. Yeah.
All right. Perfect. So we're gonna dive right into it. So tell me a little bit about what brings you here, Sean.
Yeah. So I just been kind of just dealing with a lot of like personal boundary issues with family and friends and that kind of thing, and kind of just knowing how to navigate those conversations with them when I feel like things are crossed.
Okay. So tell me a little bit more about what are you expecting your boundaries to look like in a
Yeah.
way.
Just just baseline, just them to be respected enough. Many times I feel like I set a certain boundary with certain people, and it just kind of it doesn't really, I don't know, they don't really connect with that, and I kind of just go along with that cross boundary and not bring it up again because it's like they didn't get it, and like what's the point at that point?
Okay. Okay. Can you give me a little bit more of an example? Give me. You can
Sure.
just share one example of that.
Yeah, so well, it kind of really majorly stems from my parents also, but also I was just in this like relationship with this girl, and recently ended, and it's for the better, I would say. And particularly in that relationship, I would say I'm not comfortable you speaking to me in a certain way or using these words, and they would just be repeated, and like she would apologize for the thing that she said and didn't or did, and then but not really work on,
Mhm.
I guess, correcting it, if that's the right word.
Okay. Let's go for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and it's just frustrating because it's like I don't know how many more times I need to like go over it, and at that point, at a certain point, it just feels like I could just need to like not try anymore, and that's how more continuous boundaries are crossed.
Got you. All right. Would you say that you want to mend this relationship with her?
Not really. I think it
Okay.
is for the best that we're separated, which
Okay.
I'm thankful for. Looking back, there was a lot of issues,
Okay.
a lot of red flags. So a lot of red flags I just kind of decided to overlook and hoping for the best that it would just kind of go away, but they never really did.
Okay. So what I hear you say is that you are working on boundaries within your family,
Hmm.
specifically with this young lady in which you want no more ties with. Is that correct? Because of the
Yeah.
trust factor and the talking to and how she speaks to you, you just are not really feeling that. Is that correct?
Yeah, that has a large part of it.
All right. So I want you to do something. I want you. I have this board here.
Okay.
And I want you to list everyone that is closely attached to you and
Okay.
what role they play in your life. So I want you to
Hmm.
put you in the middle, and I want everyone else, it can be your siblings, your parents, whoever that's really close to you, I want you to put the role that they play.
Okay. I think I can do that.
All right, try it out.
Okay. Does it have to be current people right now?
Actually, you can share some in the past, some individuals in the past. That's
Okay.
fine, if you would like.
I'll draw like a dotted line to kind of
Okay.
like separate that, but I will list one person. Okay, I think I got everything.
All right, let's talk about it a little
Sure.
bit. So we're going to start with mom. So what role does mom play within your life?
Well, she's always kind of supported me in the basic needs. Like she's there to provide meals. Sometimes just checking if like school's going okay, things going around in my life going okay. Um, just like really simple baseline kind of things.
Okay. Okay. Would you say that she too much into your business, or in a way, can you
Yeah.
talk about that just for a little bit?
I would consider her as a really nosy person.
Okay.
Kind of prying into things that are like more than I really want to open up about, like personal things, like relationships, sometimes even school things. Um, and I would just kind of be like, yeah, I don't feel like talking about that with you right now, or just at all. And it's hard for her to like really grasp that, like when hearing the word no, or like
Mhm.
I don't want to talk about things. So it's always been kind of difficult in that way.
Okay. Okay. What about dad?
Kind of the same thing. I just don't go for him for emotional things. I don't think that he really knows how to connect in that sense.
Okay.
Um, he's a very rigid person, very like black and white kind of thinking. Uh, different comes from a different like culture and background. He was born in Baghdad, so
Okay.
language not a language barrier, but he still has a pretty thick accent. I just think emotional, personal aspects I would not consider talking to him about,
Okay.
just because I don't think he would really know what to say.
Okay. All right. And who else do you have here?
My sister.
Your sister.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about
Yeah.
that.
So my sister and I are both pretty close. Closer than well. Um, we were pretty close when she like lived around the area, but she
Okay.
moved to California now. So I would still say I consider her as close and someone who I can kind of vent to.
Okay.
But given the distance and her busy schedule, it's been a little bit tough for that.
Got you. Okay. And then we have this dotted line here.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what that dotted line mean, and then the person that's under that dotted line?
Sure. So that was the person that I was in a relationship with, my last um, my last girlfriend, and we were together for about a year and a half,
Okay.
which just ended about a month ago. And like you want to trust your significant other in any kind of relationship, what that means. But in this one, it was hard to really open up. She was really hard to person to kind of vent to and have her support and listen to me in that way. I just don't think that she truly tried to listen. I think she struggled with like empathy skills, just kind of a basic level.
Okay.
And she kind of made a lot of my issues personal on her end in a way, which I never really understood that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
That I really appreciate that. I want to dig more so into the childhood life, your childhood. So can you just talk to me a little bit about your childhood experiences, whether they were good or bad? Let's just talk about the childhood just for a second,
Yeah.
so that we can build up to where we are right now.
Yeah, that makes
Is that fine with you?
Makes sense.
All
Yeah.
right, go ahead. Just share whatever you want to share, and
Sure.
we'll go from there.
So my sister and I both are adopted.
Okay.
So we're from Colombia, and not biologically related at all. She's about 2 years older than me. We're from the same city and everything. I always felt like I was part of my family. You know, they always made me feel they were open and honest about their adoption, which was fantastic. And my parents, growing up, they would spoil me and my sister a lot. So our childhood was good in that sense. They were fully present, except for maybe my dad, because you know he was working full time as a surgeon. So you can imagine those hours have always been pretty long, which they were. And I don't think I spent as much time as I would like with him, but I understood, like, he was a busy guy.
Okay.
So mom was always like, she was always kind of available. She worked from home a lot during our childhood. Present, I would say they were both pretty strict in certain things, especially when it came to like school and academics, performance. And that was kind of hard because my interests were not really academically related at the time. They were more like focused on things I like to do, like sports and hanging out with friends, more extracurricular activities, if you will.
Okay.
Which I don't think they really understood that either. But yeah, I mean, overall good, but some things here and there kind of bother me. And their parenting styles as well. I don't feel like we're as beneficial for us in a way.
Talk to me a little bit more about the parenting styles, the difference that
Yeah,
you've seen.
I would
growing
say I would consider it as pretty old school, you
up.
know,
Old school.
especially when it comes to like punishments, you know. If me and my sister kind of acted out, they would, like, I don't know, they wouldn't like, I guess, like, talk about it more. They would be just angry about things.
Okay.
In that way. So yeah, I know that if I was a parent, I would handle things differently, I would say.
Okay. Well, again, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Now, I did hear you say that they had two different styles. Now, would you say that you preferred one style over the other? So, for example, you preferred mom's style of how she did things over than dad's style of how he did things, or?
Well, looking back at it, I would say that they were pretty much in tune with each other, but
Okay.
one was a little more involved and intense than the other, which was mom's side.
Right.
My dad was just, since he wasn't like around as much, since he was working, he would kind of let my mom deal with everything.
Okay.
And so I think that, yeah, that would be like the only main difference there. But otherwise, pretty much the same sort of thing.
Okay.
They agreed with each other.
Okay. And how did that make you feel? I'm still trying to paint the picture as a child. How did that make you feel when you were younger and they were extremely strict, as you say, right? Correct?
Yes.
How did that make you feel overall? Do you feel like they were supportive? Would you feel like they were just mean just to be mean overall, or if they were protecting you from something that you may not have known?
Yeah, I think I would consider them as overprotective.
Overprotective.
I would say that.
And what makes you feel that way?
Many things. It's hard to pinpoint right now, but just the way that they were just strict, and as soon as a bad grade would show up, they would be like, "Oh, okay, we gotta punish you. We gotta take away this and that. You're grounded for this amount of time." And it just seemed sort of unfair for the thing that I was grounded or punished for. Yeah, I'm sorry. I kind of like lost track of where I was gonna go with that.
No, you're fine. You're fine. So, what I want to do now is I want you to erase this
Okay.
for a minute, and I want you to now focus on some of the strengths that you've seen in your childhood versus some of the negative, because we did say one of the negatives was the strictness of your parents. But what was actually some of the strengths?
Strengths.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you can do a line.
Kind of like a pros and cons.
Yes,
kind
there
of.
you go.
Okay. Should I write that like
Yep,
pros and cons?
that's fine.
Okay. Really, this is all I can think of right
Okay,
now.
perfect. That's perfect.
Sure,
Let's
there's more, but
Yeah, let's talk about it.
yeah,
So let's start with the pros, of course.
sure.
Talk a little bit about the pros.
So I started with I always felt like financially supported in that way, which I'm grateful for. Um, and I really try not to take things for granted often. Um,
And when you talk about financial, was that, providing as far as food, shelter, clothes, or was it giving you what you want? So if you asked for a PlayStation, they would just say, yes, I'm gonna give it to you.
I would say both, yeah.
Okay.
But I would say like the bigger things like a console, like a PlayStation,
Okay.
was more towards like my Christmas or birthday
Okay.
time. But I would technically get the things I wanted on my Christmas list often. Food and everything was not an issue. My mom loved to cook, so they're able to get like the food we wanted, and that kind of thing.
Okay.
The next thing I wrote is okay if I move on. We bonded a lot during like family vacations, so it kind of ties with the financially stuff. We were able to go on vacations a lot, which I'm also grateful for. Um, Sometimes we'd go with like my grandparents to certain places, which was awesome. And I think my best memories with my parents were probably with like on those like vacations.
Okay.
Um, yeah, that was always fun for us, me and my sister. The third thing I have was I felt pretty much for the most part supported by my choices of extracurricular activities. They always cared about the grades in school, but they also pushed me and my sister to do something, and they kind of gave us the free like liberty to kind of like choose what we wanted to do. So I kind of like did everything I wanted to do, things my friends did, and that was always great for that.
Okay. Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about the cons
Mhm.
of.
I'm sure there's more cons, but I
Okay.
think like the two main ones here.
Okay.
Academic and just overall expectations were just way too high for me, I think. Um, and sharing personal matters would also often be used against me in like arguments, which was hard.
Okay. So I want to keep the cons at the forefront.
Okay.
Let's go back to the pros. Now, if you could tell me, if we could erase one pro that you say happened is not so big, right? So not so at the forefront. Which one would that be? Um, in terms of over, so all of these are important. However, which one would you say, it wasn't that much important
Like what kind
at
of
the time?
At the time, okay. Like kind of identify like two out of the three things that
Mhm.
really meant the most to me.
Yeah.
Okay. I would probably say. Should I cross out the one?
Yeah.
Okay. Say that one. I think
And-
these two matter to me the most.
Okay. So we're saying that the financial wasn't really a big factor when you were a child.
Yeah.
Okay. And the vacation and supporting with the decisions and the choices you made with your extracurricular activities
Correct.
were very important to you.
Mhm.
Can you talk a little bit about, I want to go to the bond that you had with your family during vacations. Now, you said that's when you spent the most time together, correct? Was
Yeah,
those-
quality
those
time, I would say. Yeah.
Quality time. Would you say, how did that make you feel, spending that quality time on those vacations, other than when you guys were just at home?
Yeah, I always like look forward to those. You know, sometimes they would just be out of the blue, like, hey, we're going this place, we're going this for the summer. That was something that I was looking forward to, and I was like, yeah, I'm ready for that. Let's
Okay.
do it.
Would you say that you guys had quality time at home too, other than the vacations, or it was slim to none?
I would say there was stuff at home, but I'm not gonna say that we didn't have the time. We did. We always ate as a dinner as a family together, which was important, and I understand that now more.
Mhm.
In some like game nights, like Saturdays or weekends, watching football together on weekends, or sports, But those vacations just kind of really hit in a different way. Um, and yeah, I don't know.
Okay, okay. No, that's good. All right, and let's just talk briefly about the support that you had when it comes down to extracurricular activities.
Yeah.
So, talk a little bit about what made that so important to you and how you feel.
I think that was the time where I was like kind of obviously kind of discovering myself more and what I wanted to do, what made me happy, and for them to kind of like listen in that way, like oh, okay, he wants to play basketball this year with his friends, or and he wants to do football this semester. Um, like truly listen to me and letting me have like free will in that way. You know, they could easily said, no, you're gonna do something else because we think it's too dangerous, or we heard a story about so and so and they got hurt playing that sport that you want to play, so we're gonna pull you out. Which actually, it's funny. That's a pro, but it also now I'm thinking it was a con because that did happen. It happened in 1 year, but it actually kind of worked out for the better.
Right. Talk about a little bit about why would you consider that to to go from the pros to the cons.
Yeah. So how when that happened was probably seventh grade. I love playing football, and the coaches wanted me to keep playing, and I remember I like just sprained my wrist in practice. My dad being a doctor, my mom being a nurse, just working in that healthcare field, overprotective in their background and their parenting styles just kind of collided with each other, and
Okay.
they basically dictated like, hey, we're gonna give you an ultimatum. You're not gonna be playing football, and if you want to play a sport, it's either gonna be soccer, it's gonna be cross country, whatever is available. That's not football. And I remember I was like, no, that's so stupid. Like, I don't want to do that. I want to keep playing football. My friends are playing football. That was like the dumbest thing, and I fought them pretty hard and long about that. But they ended up kind of winning that argument. So I played soccer, and honestly, I kind of kept playing soccer. I actually enjoyed it. Like I learned to love it a lot.
Okay.
So they were right on that one, but I would say a lot of other things that they dictated over me were always I would disagree with.
Got you. Okay. That's good. Okay. All right. So let's take a pause on that and let's go to the cons. So, out of the two cons that you have here, which would you say um, they were more harder on you about?
They're both pretty strong, I would say. But if
Okay.
I were to choose, I think the first one, the academic expectations.
Okay. Talk a little bit about what they expected out of you and why you felt the need that it was such of a high bar for you.
I think a variety of factors
Okay.
when I think of that. My dad was always an academic kind of guy. Like growing up, he would like read in his free time. He enjoyed doing that. He would take like practice tests for fun, like ACT stuff, and I'm like, who does that? Like I wouldn't certainly think about that for fun. He was like one of the best in his class growing up. He became a doctor, you know, all these things, and I think that he kind of wanted me to be like him in that regard, and not unless like what I wanted to do and what I wanted to be. So every time I would get like a poor grade in their eyes, or even if it was justified like a poor grade, it would just kind of feel like the worst kind of thing that I would do for them. You know, like they would get so mad, you know, yelling, taking away things, grounding me. Yeah, so I don't know. That was always like hard to kind of navigate because I just wanted to. Of course, I wanted to do well in school. Like, you know, I want to do the best I can, but I don't think that they were truly listening and figuring out what's best for me and when I'm struggling in that way.
Okay. And then can you talk briefly about sharing personal matters?
Yeah, this is kind of like happens more with my mom. I think she's, you know, I would consider her as undiagnosed with many things, but one of them being like some sort of personality disorder. Like she would maybe like bipolar because she would be, you know, emotions would be high 1 second and then another second later, it'll just have this massive shift. Um, so when we were having arguments, she would just go above and beyond the kind of normal level I would think of being reasonably unhappy with someone, and that was always hard to like handle. And I would just be shared or like scared or timid to like share personal things. Like, oh, I'm struggling here, or like I just want to open up about this because it's bothering me. Um, and then sometimes afterwards, it would be kind of brought up again in a way that was against me. It's hard to pinpoint an extreme or a specific example because that's kind of doing some deep dive in there.
Got you.
Things I've been trying to close off, but you know.
Okay. All right. So again, thank you for this.
Yeah.
Now we understand the pros are the pros. Those are the high moments, the highlight moments of your life, the ones that you really enjoy. When it comes down to the cons, those are not obviously not so much of the good enjoyments of you being, your childhood.
Yeah.
The reason why I wanted to dig a little bit deeper into your childhood, because a lot of what you said growing up stems to what's going on as of right now with your boundaries, setting your boundaries. So, what I want you to do is I want you to find your strengths in what you do now. All of your strengths, everything that makes you who you are, right? Whether that's playing sports, whether that's being in school, whether that's, and I want you to hide that in your heart. I really want you to hide that in your heart and not allow others that are around you, which is your support system, lead the way. But you do things for you. And how does that look? You will have to, create that. But I want you to really focus in on what you enjoy doing, setting those boundaries for yourself, and then as you set those boundaries for yourself, they will begin to form their relationship and where they need to be. For example, I don't know, let's just say this is you. These are your boundaries here, right? Boundaries. Oftentimes, our boundary or people want to get in your personal space. These are the personals. These big, long lines, personal space. Somehow we are going to block them from getting in your personal space. But how we're going to block them, well, you have to be real with yourself about what you are going to let somebody in to you, how you're going to let somebody into you, how they're going to have access to you. All right. So, what I want you to do this week as your homework, I want you to really dig deep into some of the things that you feel that bothers your boundaries, right? What really not necessarily stress you out regarding your boundaries, but really picks with whatever boundary you may have. And I want you to form some type of what am I trying to say? Void. Not void. I don't want to say void. I want to say form some type of thing where you're going to not necessarily cut them off, but just let yourself come first in a way. So what I want you to do is to really just I want you to examine those boundaries. I want you to identify how you're going to set them off or kill them so that they're no longer around, or they're going to have to wait. They're going to have to get through these little poke things here that I have created. Now, that can look however it's going to look for you, but I really want you to really examine, and I want you to set those boundaries up to where, just like how your parents held such of a high standard for you, you have to set yourself up at a high standard with your boundaries as well. Some things I'm not going to allow into my personal space for the peace of mind. So I want you to really consider what's really your boundaries and how are you going to set that wall so no one can get into that boundary that you have set for yourself. Would you consider doing that for me?
Yeah, that sounds like something I can do.
All
Yes.
right. So again, I really appreciate you for talking with me, for sharing your thoughts, sharing your concerns, sharing your childhood, and then I'll see you next week.
And thank you so much. Appreciate that. That sounds
Thank
pretty
you.
helpful.
All right.